So in the last video, I went through the Darth Vader helmet and the breakdown on that. Now I want to move on to the armor pieces. Now, some of these parts, well, all of these parts actually, are from the Ruby's costume. And I know people talk a lot of smack about that, and the writer, don't buy it. But if you can get component parts from it, it's actually pretty good. These component parts are very easily modified, and those modifications make the world of difference. So I would avoid buying the whole thing, and it's expensive. You don't get a lot of bang for your buck. But if you can pick up component parts and then modify those component parts, which is very easy to do, then they can really look good. So I'm going to just show the chest armor on me. And here we go. Sorry, the shoulder armor on me. And it is rubies, but it is heavily modified. Just so you know a little bit about me, I am about 5'11", 181 centimeters tall, and I'm about 210, 220 pounds. I'm a pretty regular at the gym and stuff, so I've got a bit of size, not crazy, nowhere near the original dude, but enough to certainly carry Vader. Anyway, we're going to cut now and move on to a bit of a deep dive on the shoulder armour. So this is the shoulder armour, and it is rubies. However, again, heavily modified. A lot of what I've got are rubies parts, but again, I've modified them, so they're completely unrecognisable from what you get out of the box there. But anyway, so this is the rubies armour, but it has been painted. So we did a gunmetal here, and that was across the entire armour, and then we masked it up and painted it gloss black, as you can see. And the original paint job is pretty garbage. I think this looks 10 times better, and again, when you see it with the full suit, looks amazing. Also, these are held in by sort of plastic hinges. I'm thinking of changing those potentially, but again, they work. However, from the original, they're quite outset, and also, and I'll just demonstrate this, on the original they fall in, and on this you'll notice that they don't. The reason that they don't is because underneath I've put foam to prevent that from happening. So they act almost like the sort of, again, like the Revenge of the Sith version, where they don't move. They stay where they are, even with the cape on, and the cape's pretty heavy. So they're pretty sturdy. You'll also notice I've got Velcro here and here, and that is to attach the cape. This is industrial Velcro, so it's extremely strong. When it connects, it's not, obviously it's not impossible to remove it, but it is sturdy, very sturdy. And also this chain, this is not rubies. The one that comes with rubies is absolutely garbage. It just looks awful. This has been, I bought this 3D printed off the internet. I think it was a guy in Germany. If I find who it is, I'll put a link in the description, because I think he's done a great job here in terms of, you know, what he's provided. And that's held in just with some of that sort of like I guess it's wire, you know, with black plastic around it, so I twisted it inside and then taped it down, so you can't even see it, to be fair, but it holds it in place. And when the cape's on, it looks like this is holding the cape on. Obviously it's not, it's just for the look, but it does look good. And on top of that, I've also put some moleskin around the edge here, and that's just to protect the paint when it's from the helmet. It stops it from chipping away at it, so there's that. What I've also done is I've added foam to the underside here along the front to give it a look of sort of thickness. If we see from the side there, it looks thicker. The paint job isn't great there, but it works. And what I found with the rubies, with most of the stuff there, is it's plastic, it's very thin, so it just doesn't look good. Whereas having it sort of thickened up like that just gives it that extra look that it's thicker, sturdier than what it really is. And as we're on sort of armour pieces, I'll show you the shin guards. So these are the shin guards. They are rubies as well. However, they have been painted and glossed up. So again, if you know how to paint and wet sand, then you can get a great result out of these. What I have changed, however, is how they're held in. So these come with like a sort of felt type material with a zip up the back. There's literally no giving it, and eventually it goes. These are just lycra straps, and they connect just via these clips here. So I'm trying to do this with one hand, but yeah, they connect just like so. There we go, like that. And because they're lycra, they've got some give, so they hold a lot better than what comes originally. And all I did was just cut some holes in at 3 points. I just used a like a X-Acto knife, or Stanley knife as we call them here in the UK, and yeah, that worked to trade did that. So those are the shin guards, and I think they look pretty cool. And also I might as well show this as well, the cod piece, which again, that is a rubies cod piece. I have used like a boot polish to try and sort of smarten it up a little bit. I always find with this, it doesn't need to be perfect. It's a part that is less noticeable, and as long as it kind of, well, it looks like that, it works. But again, you can just use boot polish, so I just like wanted to sort of, make them bits look a bit better, than just rub some boot polish on, and that does the job. Well, I was showing the shin guard, I thought I might as well show the boots that I use. Now clearly these are very different from, I guess, what you'd classify as 501st boots or whatever. And yet they've got quite a heel on them. Again, I'm 5'11", so these, including the inserts inside, take me to about 6'4", 6'5", which is closer to what the original actor is in terms of height. And again, the reason I liked these, and I did a bit of online shopping and whatever, but I found these, and I liked them because they've got these like metal bits sort of on the toe and on the heel. You can't really see the heel anyway, you don't really notice that when you're all suited up, but particularly on the toe, I like it. My build is for me, but I sort of think that, okay, you've got Vader, he's a mechanical guy, all his limbs are mechanical, and it's almost like sort of sensors in his feet. That's my own justification, if you will. So I think they, I mean, again, on their own now, looks like I'm going to some kind of, mosh party, whatever. But when it's all suited up, they do look the part, they look right. And I actually think more so than just some black Soviet boots. All this is hidden anyway, because the shin guards hide that. And you know what? I'm going to just cut and show you what I mean. So we are. That's the boot with the shin guard on. And as you can see, you can't really see any, you can't see any of the other stuff. And again, when you're all, caped up and everything, so all you see is just the bottom part. And as I say, I like it. I think it works. But there you go. Right, I'll get on to moving on to the next stuff.